where are we now with freemium? Is it still considered viable, and in what way is freemium, the move towards free transfer of content, where are we with it now?
My perspective is you have to monetize in some form or another. And, some people started with the model that you don't have to do that, everything's for free. And basically the argument was that the economic theory teaches us that marginal revenue should follow marginal cost. And marginal cost of each additional copy of a digital distribution is near free, and therefore the price should be near free, or the revenue, and free is a much better price than near free, which is definitely true. I start with the hypothesis that we need to monetize whatever it is we're creating in one form or another. There are different ways of doing that. The freemium model, where a small group pays for a large percentage of the total revenue that is provided, certainly works in some cases, and certainly we've seen it work very well, for example, in some of the social games. But that's just one of many models. My belief is that there are really three types of models, and you need to look at all three of them. One is traditional pricing, where the end consumer pays in some form or another, and there can be different variations in that we can get into and talk about. Second is what we call payer models, or traditional advertising like or sponsorship models, where somebody else pays. When you listen traditionally, we'll go back to the old days, to radio for music, well, you didn't pay for the radio. In some cases, yes, there was advertising. That was one way of supporting it. Another way was it was trying to get you to buy the album by promoting it on the radio. Now we, in effect, let you listen to the music or give you the music at free or near free to get you to come to the concert, or to get you to buy the device to listen to your content on, or potentially to buy a subscription to have it in the cloud. So there are different ways the end consumer can pay, or somebody else can pay for them. And then the third way is you can package it with something else. You can make it part of your brand extension. You can offer it as a service that includes other services. For instance, in the cell phone business, we might offer more services to get you to reduce the churn. So we are continually packaging new services. Some of them are on paper free, but really, we're monetizing that by we're getting you to buy a subscription to something else, or we're getting you to reduce your churn, increasing your lifetime value to us. So, I don't think it's as simple as whether it's free or not for free. It's more a question of who's paying for it and how are they paying for it. In some way, we want to monetize it. Now, let's take book publishing. I don't know about Clay, but I'm not making a lot of money on my book. So why are we writing books? Well, there's other benefits, and, maybe potentially, I don't know, Robin, somebody's going to pay me a lot of money to come talk about my book. Maybe I can do more consulting work for my clients because they've seen my book or read my book. It's helping to establish and build my brand, whereas in the old days, maybe I wrote the book to make money. It wasn't free, and it's not free now, but the primary objective in writing the book is not the direct monetization.
Are there any accepted truths about how to charge and how to monetize that we can leave this room with?
No. We are, I think, I will, I think, blow up your attempt to get an argument going, because I think, as you suspect, we're past the sort of freemium yes or no conversation, and now we're in sort of freemium where does it fit? But we're still pretty far from best practices. And we're pretty far from best practices for a bunch of reasons, but I think one of the most important reasons is the cultural expectations businesses and agencies have built up over the years about how this ought to go has been a bad fit for the current environment. So rather than answer that question in the abstract, let me just talk about someplace where I see those two things clashing. And it's something that's been of great interest to me over the years, which is how do newspapers manage this transition? So last year, the Times of London, Rupert Murdoch's broadsheet paper in London, announced a paywall of the classic sort, which is if you want to read an article, then you have to pay. And this year, the New York Times Company has announced a paywall, as it is sometimes called. I think metered billing is probably a better name for that model, in which you can read up to 20 articles a month for free, and then after that, you must be a member and you have to pay. So if you look at what the Times of London is doing, they're treating content as a product. Even though it's no longer a physical object, they're treating it as if it was a physical object. You know, if you want to leave the store with a bunch of bananas, you have to pay for the bananas. If you want to walk away from times.co.uk with an article, you have to pay for the article. They're treating their users as consumers. They are people who are coming to get access to those articles. And what they are selling is that access. They are selling access to those articles. When you look at what the Times is doing, what they've said is, we're stopping treating news as a product. We're starting to treat it as a service. Once you go to digital delivery, we're getting out of the habit of regarding this as if it's a very lightweight analog for the newspaper, and we're treating it as something else entirely. As a result, the people who come here, we're not treating them as consumers, we're treating them as users. They have things they want to do with that content. Some of the things they can do with that content are free, and some of them are not free. And we're going to be really clear about what the dividing line is. And in a way, what the New York Times is now selling is their brand. That is a really dramatic shift from we sell content to consumers, and access is the service we offer. What the Times instead is doing is they're saying, not only is there a place in the ecosystem for free and paid, but we can treat the same product as the underlying platform for all of those different strategies.